Hey there, good morning. It is Sunday, September 12th, and we're going to go through some auction prep here for Heritage Auctions. Hope you're all having a great weekend. If you're not familiar with how this works, I go through Heritage Auctions and essentially find some books that I'm interested in. I track them in a spreadsheet and try and find which books I can get for below fair market value. So hopefully you have your morning drink of choice with you. And let's get started. I'm going to zoom in here, get this going 150% so we can see it. I'm going to stay away from the current auction that's going on. This platinum session, this was the session that had the $3.6 million Spider-Man book. So we're going to focus on this auction, which in a way, if everybody's spending their money in the platinum session, maybe the books in this auction will fall to a lower price. That usually doesn't happen, but wishful thinking. So what I do is I come in here and I can't track every auction, and I'm not interested in every book. So I try and limit myself. I also can't spend every dollar. So I switch the comic publisher to Marvel, and I start there. And before that, I want to go back to the tracker and take a look at the numbers. Looks like I never filled in these. How about the data? I did not do that either. So let's put the data in here. And what I'm looking for is this summary row. So this is 303 from, I think I can just Control D down, 95. So that should match the 4,700 GPA tracking. Total final bid tracked 1,700. Right, so that's not, I have to update that real quick. So let me get these numbers by filling these in. And I should be able to do this fairly quickly. So I'm just going back, and this is why I track the links, because I can go back and see what they sold for. So this is 396. And then when I fill this in, you can see that this book actually sold for 145% of GPA, right? So this is where the bidding FOMO kind of kicks in, like I've got to have this book. Here's 204. Whereas that one was more or less right in line with kind of what we would expect here. All right, so this is 9.0. $420 for X-Men 23. Again, way over GPA for a 9.0 raw. And for raw books, I'm just looking at whatever Heritage says the grade is. Now, mind you, that's raw going over GPA, where GPA is expecting CGC slabbed. Here's 420 for X-Men 101. That actually was a pretty good price for a 6.0 fine. $216 on X-Men 122. Here's a 9.4 X-Men 126. Sold for 168. That was also over. So we're looking at 90% GPA across raw and slab books, which is actually pretty high. 432 for X-Men 133. Here's the book that shows up. I believe this. Yeah, I track this every week because I don't know why, but X-Men 138 and a 9.8 is in every auction. So this sold for 252. And last one, X-Men 184. This is the first Forge. Sold for 252 as well. And I did mention last time I needed a last sold column, and I went ahead and added last sold here. to start just looking at that. So you can just see just last sold from what it sold to. We don't need a lot of history here. We're living in the moment, living the dream. So we just kind of need to see quickly at a glance. So like this one last sold for 228 according to GPA in a 9.0 CGC slabbed. So this was a 9.0 raw that sold for $396. Crazy. All right. So now that we have our data in, let's go back and we should see here 85.6%. Where is that? Oh, that's right. Because this is a rough average. So I'm taking an average here. So it's not the true percentage, whereas this is here. So the reason I do an average is because I look at these numbers live. So I could go back and adjust it, but I usually clone this record later on. So anyway, so here's something that's interesting and just, again, something to be mindful of. Here's the numbers for June where you can see we've got 72%, 75%. Then it jumps at the end of June to 83%. And then dips back down. Now, why is that interesting? Because it rose and then dipped, and then now it's rising again. So possibly this one on the 12th, and again with the other auction running or ending today, but it's been running. Maybe there's auction fatigue. So what I'm hoping is maybe we get back to the early June timeline or percentage of low 70s, which would be great. But in total, since I've been tracking this for the last few months, you get about 76% of the final bids against GPA. So again, I'm tracking the total GPA value, and it's at 76%. And why is that interesting? Because that helps me figure out what the projected bid is. And you can see here, if I move this, just how far off my projections are. So a negative number means it sold for less than what was projected for that final. So let's see, final bid. Yeah, final bid was 210. I projected 227. Final bid was 210. I projected 192. So if it's positive, it went for more. Negative, it went for less. So, and that's relative to the percentage here. So if we look at this one that sold for $39 less, you can see the percentages are lower. So I like to look at the rates, but I also like to look at the raw numbers just because we are dealing with raw dollars here. So it's interesting to me to see kind of what that projection is. So let's start to go through the auctions, and I can explain a little bit more about this process. The first thing I'm going to do is clone the last record here just so we have a starting point. And then we'll go ahead and start filling these in. All right, so move this here. Close the other tabs to the right. Okay. So I'm not going to go through every book. What I'm looking for are slabs in white pages for major series that I collect. So it would be Amazing Spider-Man, Iron Man, X-Men, the very mainstream Avengers, Marvel books, or raw books or raw book lots. Now I don't collect Amazing Adventures featuring Beast, but that would be one of those. So I'm not going to track Amazing Fantasy for in a 3.0, things like that. Spider-Man #1. Those are very trackable, public, books that get a lot of attention. What I'm looking for are books that I would be willing to spend money on to buy. So I have a certain budget, certain price range when I look at heritage auctions, and I kind of move accordingly. I try to stay away from these like super, super low grade. While maybe if I needed that one book to complete my ASM run, I would get it, but I'm just not interested. Let me pop open GPA here. Because we are going to need that to help us out. Bring that in. Okay. So I am just curious about ASM 10. It is a 3.0. It doesn't look too bad. So I'm just curious to see if that's going to be something that would be in my price range. 3.0 is pretty low. $300 last sale, $288. Let me take a look and see if there's any additional notes on the grade. So it doesn't say anything. There's no writing on the cover. It doesn't say any detached staples. There it is. That's why. So again, I'm trying not to take on books with problems like that, even if they are affordable, relatively speaking, I should say. I'm looking for presentable books that just have the standard wear and tear on, especially on a Silver Age. Nothing with a lot of staining or dirt, stuff that really you can't ever clean up. All right, these slabs are way out of range, multiple thousands of dollars. First Craven, $525. All right, now this one's interesting. This is always a book that's tough. Molten Man, but in particular that super dark black cover. So there's always a premium on this book. Let me switch to Spider-Man 28 here. So 4.0, 267 rising, last sold for $288. I don't know if I would spend almost $300 on that book. I'm going to keep going. Now, this is one I always look at. Well, that's tough. Yeah. This is one I would have to make some concessions and deviate from what I would say is my standard, like presentation quality, low grade, Silver Age, the staple. Let me zoom in on this book so you can see what I'm talking about. Look at the staple on this one. Right there. That's pretty rough. And then this one's over here. It doesn't have the staining issues. There's no writing. So it's just a really beat up low grade. I mean, crisscrossing folds. Really, really beat up. I would track it if that staple were on the spine. Just checking my notifications here for a second. I'm going to pass. I have to stick to my formula and my process, and that's one of the things, especially when you're dealing with a lot of money in heritage auctions or any auction that's ending that on a book that you're interested in. You don't want to. You have to stick to whatever your formula is, and to me, it's about presentation. Obviously, grade matters, cost, value, all of those things matter, but presentation is right up there in terms of my formula. And I just can't do it. I am trying to get a copy of this, especially before the next Spider-Man MCU movie comes out in December. But there's usually a couple of these, like you see this in a 4.5. That's beautiful. But if we take a look at what this book runs for, even in a 4.5, it's probably somewhere between $400 or $500. Yeah, 503, trending up. Last sold 580 last month. So it's a highly desirable, sought-after book, and you're paying that top of the market premium right now for these slabbed books. So those in particular, I try and stay. Same thing with this First Rhino. That's a great 5.5 white pages. It's gorgeous, but again, the price on this is just out of my price range. And when I say out of price range, my cat just bit me. When I say out of the price range too, it just means beyond like even fair market value. We are at the height of the market right now. So you do want to kind of stay away from specifically these books, these Silver Age keys. Sell them if you got them, but really, really tough to bid and win on these right now. So this book I have, this is a pretty clean copy. Colors look great. So I do want to look at this book. This is the issue at the end where Mary Jane says you've hit the jackpot. So a really, really fun, great book to own. I do not have it in a 9.8. They have this listed as a fine 6.0, which is 6.0 is really, really great for raw in a really nice sweet spot. So this is trending up 302, but last sold for 280. So somebody may pick up that last sale and it may go for less than what GPA is saying it's worth. So I'm going to track this book just because it is one of my favorite all-time Amazing Spider-Man issues. And I'm going to grab the URL, copy that, and you can look at the lot number in column A change automatically. And then another thing I did recently was made it so that when I paste the description, columns D, E, and F also fill out automatically, which again is going to save not only me some time, but you, the viewer, some time. So all I have to do is come down here, copy this, and you'll see when I paste it in here, all of that switches. So I grab the grade, I determine if it's raw or CGC, and then if it's CGC graded, I determine if it should have that W designation for white pages. The only other thing I have to do is manually decide, and this is fine because it's really up to me. We had 5 recent sales for a 90-day average of $302. So that's the GPA value that I'll give for this book. And then I'll note a last sale of $280. So I come into here and I put 302. This is the September 12th auction. And I put that it's $280. Now I don't do anything yet with this last sold. I don't do a trend or the probability of this book selling above or below, but I feel like over time, if I look at GPA, last sold, the trend of the prices on Heritage, then I could maybe make a best guess determination of whether or not this book is going to sell below or above, and I could do that before the auction. So then I could maybe target those books or highlight them and say it's most likely that this book will sell below the last sold amount or above. And then I can, again, get ready for when those books go up. So when the books go live for auction, you literally have seconds to decide what you're going to do. If you're going to bid the book up or stay away, get out, or watch it or whatever. And it is that kind of morning where I'm using a Christmas coffee mug. Okay, so what happened when I put the GPA? I put GPA at 302. Now it means my opening bid would be $57. When I do this this late, meaning the auctions are starting this afternoon, typically the current bid is beyond my opening bid. So I would bid these during the week. Again, these always are over bid. I'm contemplating even not doing this anymore. but it just adds the ability to track. So my target bid would be 143, max of 230. Now, why is that my max? Because what I'm trying to do is get this with the buyer's premium. Remember, there's a buyer's premium, so it's not like, why are you bidding 230 on a $300 book? I'm actually bidding 276. And why is that the max? Because remember, this is a raw book, and GPA, their data is based off of slabbed books. So what I do is I factor in the cost to send it off to CGC. Now, what I'm not doing is looking at book value and any other additional fees that CGC would charge you. I'm more or less giving it a blanket, basic, like $25 to $35 rough CGC fee to send that book in. So please keep that in mind too. If I'm not bidding on $1,000 books here, but if you were to send a $1,000 raw book to CGC, it'd be more than just the $20 to $30 to get it graded. So again, these are rough numbers, but we're in the ballpark here. We're actually inside the ballpark. We're really close. But so if I really, really wanted this book and I had the money and I wanted to spend it, I would stop my bidding at 230. And that would allow me to get the book at, I would say, fair market value. But again, I don't want to pay fair market value. So I very, very rarely bid up to the max. I'm usually somewhere in between if I really, really want a book. So if I had to have this book, which if we're looking at it, it is pretty nice. This is a pretty clean copy, really great colors, minimal spine wear. Again, this is a 6.0 fine. There is that tear at the bottom. That's where, again, if you're looking at your range, I would not go up to my maximum bid with that tear, even if it's reported as a 6.0. Wrapping looks pretty good. A lot of tanning around here. Some issue on the back. If I was a professional comic book cleaner, I might want to look at this and see if I can clean it up. But with all of that, I still want to see the book, and certainly I would be interested in owning it if I could get it closer to what my target bid would be. And then the other thing is I will track the item. So if the current bid is above my pre-bid, and I know it says pre-bid, but it means pre-auction bid. So at $57, it's already above, but I still want to track it. So I click track item. If it's a book that I really want to go after, like I really want to see it. Now this is not one. Again, I'm kind of casually looking at this one, and I would casually bid on this to see if I could get it on the cheap. But if I really, really wanted to target a book, you can click this for live auction alerts, and you'll get a text message like a few minutes before this book is about to go up for live auction. So that's kind of how I differentiate things now. I have different tiers where maybe I'm looking at a book in my spreadsheet, and then a second tier would be I track it, and then a third tier would be give me those text message alerts because it's a book I'm really interested in. And I want to start tracking that here too. I feel like I just throw all the books in here, and as I go through them, I forget which books I'm really trying to go after. I could certainly just do a simple highlight, but then it messes up my columns here. Maybe I could just put it in bold, something like not that. Control B, and then just look at it that way or something. Try not to make it stand out too much, but I'll figure it out. All right, now let me get rid of ASM 42. Keep going. I just got this one, ASM 45, not in an 8.0, but maybe around the 4, 5, or 6 range. And I was thinking maybe I get all of the ASM number 40s up to number 50. 50 obviously is a big key, and I have 51, so maybe I can try and get into the run of ASM 40s. 7.5 slabbed, off-white to white. Again, I'm not going to really do anything with this book. These slabs are pretty crazy in price for Silver Age. ASM 52. So this is a fun looking book. Dr. Octopus, who in the teaser trailer we know is coming back in Spider-Man 3. Let me see what this one goes for. ASM 53. And I don't know why, but I end up targeting CGC 5.5s. I don't know. But these will often come up on Heritage. So CGC 5.5 of this book is $100. So for a $100 book slabbed off white to white, if we open it now, and again, they're really sneaky because it says the current bid is 46, but it's actually 65. This is a very presentable book, though. Like, the wrapping is pretty much perfect. Staple's a little offset there, but that's not bad. This is a pretty nice looking book. So this is a book that I would go after. It is off white to white. Again, you know, you're trying to stick to the theme. If it was 5.5 in white, man, it'd be a no-brainer. But I'm going to track it. I am interested in it. So again, I copy the URL. We're going to clone this record, Control D, paste it in there. And I no longer have to figure out how to set the grade and so forth, because I can paste it right in here. Oh, and look at that. That didn't work. So it couldn't find white pages. I think, yeah, I need to just do this is error find white pages. I have to think about this. So it's erroring out at the find white pages. So find white pages is going to return the location, and then I use that location -4. So I think I just need to copy that and then say is, or if is error find white pages, then nothing else find white pages. Oh, where'd we go? I have to expand this a little bit more. And then close parentheses. Still mid parameter 2 value is 0. Well, shoot. I thought I had this fixed. What I want to do is I just want to say if that's an error. So if is error that, so that is then nothing else it's still giving me an error though. Where's the error now? Mid. Oh, that's why. It should be before mid. That's where I have to do it. So instead of, yeah. So from here, I would say, if is error, then that, otherwise that. Perfect. That fixed it. Okay. So, and then if I want to just test this out, that's still 6.0. That's still 9.8. Okay. Although it's not returning the grade. Oh, I see why. It was looking for white pages to offset the grade. That's what that part was. So if is error find white pages, then we need to essentially copy this one, that mid there, to here. Mid 1, 2, 3, and instead of white pages, it should be off white. I'll just copy the whole thing. Put that there. Oh. I may have to do this offline here. Wrong number of arguments to if. So if is error mid 1, 2, 3. Got too many parentheses going on here. So that has mid. Fixed it. Okay. Good. How exciting was that to watch me fix the formula? Okay. So that's what was happening. Yeah. And now I'm just pasting this up and down just to make sure. And this one's pretty straightforward. So it's just if it finds white pages just like that and not part of off-white to white pages, it has to be capitalized white with the W. Okay. Sorry about that. Oh boy. All right. 5.5, $100 last sale for $100. So GPA 100, last sold 100. So my target is 55, max of 83. So for 55 on this one, we're still under my target, but way over the opener. So this one, because it's under my target bid, and I would be interested in adding this if I could get it with the buyer's premium for under $100. I'll click track, but I'll also click the live auction alert because I do want to get notified before this one goes live. All right, if you're still hanging in there with me, let's keep going. Let's see here, 9.4, 9.0. So now we're starting to see a couple of things converge here. You have, we're slowly moving away from the Silver Age into the Copper Age. And you kind of have to watch the prices. Obviously, it depends on the book and the key. But like 7.5 on this one is a very nice grade, off-white to white. We're still in the Silver Age, but you just have to watch the low to mid grade as we move out of the Silver Age is not worth it. Whereas if you're looking at 7.5 in the 20s or 30 issue numbers, it's kind of a different story. I don't know what I'm saying there exactly, but just kind of being, as I scroll through, I have to be mindful of the issue numbers and the age that we're in. These are still Silver Age. These are all off-white to white. 7.5. That's a great book in an 8.5. John Romita cover. It's just going to, these are going to shoot up beyond what I'm willing to pay. Great Kingpin cover. Little miswrap there. Off-white. These are all off-white to white pages. Here's a 6.5. Again, miswrapped. Great cover, but just wrapping on it be hard to look at. Quicksilver, issue 71. That book, the angle of it looks a little off. Miswrapped. Another miswrap. All of these that really have bad wrappings. Off, and they're all off-white as well. That's too bad. Here's the older slab. All right, this is a book that I own. I don't remember what grade I got it in. Again, looking at raws in the 4, 5, 6. So this is in that wheelhouse, but I can tell even on the top left of the book there's some staining there, so I'm going to move away from it. I don't like the way that the spine is folded here. I'm being really picky. Don't like the wrapping on that one. Not a lot of ASM here that I'm interested in. ASM 129. 7.5 white pages. There you go. There's that white page premium. First Punisher already at $12.50. Okay, so we're into the, I said copper. I meant bronze. So we're into the Bronze Age. So that's a great cover. It says it's in an 8.0. Let me look at this one. ASM 149. Kind of an odd book to be on Heritage. It's not slabbed, but it's in a high grade. What did it say? 9? 8. So 8.0, 115, last sold last month 125. So this one I'm interested in. Very strange. Let me just make sure there's no particular reason. First appearance of the Spider-Man clone, Gwen Stacy clone. Yeah, nothing. I don't see any writing on the cover. Is there writing on the back? Slightly miswrapped, a little dirty. Not bad. Okay. So I'll track this book. Put the description in, and then hopefully there are no more spreadsheet errors. Holy smokes. Cool. 8.0 raw. And GPA has a graded 8.0, trending down, only 2 sales, 115, last sold for 125. So 115, 125. So my target is 41. So it's still under. I'll track it, and I'd like a text on this one. So I'd like to get this maybe for somewhere between 40 to 50 bucks. And then with that buyer's premium, I'm getting it for right around GPA. Okay. ASM 194, another great book I'd love to own. Again, this is an odd one because they're saying it's a 9.0, but it's not slabbed. Already up there in price, so this one's just gonna, Black Cat is a very popular character amongst collectors, the really tough black cover. This one's just one of those that's always going to be, it's going to command a high value. High price, I should say. Okay. All right, still we're moving out of the Bronze Age into copper/modern. First Madame Web, issue 210, 9.0. It's a little miscut. You can see at the top. It's not a bad book, though. Curious to see what this goes for, because this book was hot for a while, especially around WandaVision, the multiverse, and Spider-Man. So 9.0. So 10 sales, trending up at 145. Last sold for 190, and that was in a CGC 9.0, and they have it at $72. But again, with that buyer's premium, yeah, you're at 91 already. Yeah, there's that miswrapped. So you just want to just yank the cover over a little bit, just straighten it out. Love that Overstreet value, $15. Yeah. Let's see what this one goes for. Why am I tracking that book in particular? Sometimes I just want to see if these slip by people's radar. Again, looking at maybe auction fatigue, things like that. $9.0 raw. 145, 190. So still trending up on this one. And my target is 57. And it's already at 72. With my max being 99. So I'll just track this book, but I don't want text on it. I'm more curious about this one, and I would bid on it. So it's different from, hey, I just want to track the book, but I'm not going to do anything with it. Okay, moving on. Great book, 9.6 white, newsstand copy. That's amazing. 180 right now. Gotta be kidding. $252. What does a 9.6 go for? So many of these. Geez, 9.6. Yeah, 559, 485. Here's newsstand. We're getting close to 600 on this one in a newsstand. So this is where it gets tempting too, to go in here and say, well, why don't you track this one and try and get it for $200? They just don't. They just never stay here. It's not worth the time. There's even people at Heritage. They know what all the price of these books. And this is a I would say, like, it's a blue chip key. Like, everyone knows the value of this. There's no way anybody at Heritage, and I'm not implying anything, but there's no way that anybody's going to let this book go for 180. So I just stay away. And again, if I'm projecting even 75% of 500, you're looking at $375, $400. It's still not. I don't want to pay that much for this book. I have this book raw anyway, so it's just not something I'm looking for. 276. Don't like the old slab. That's a pretty clean copy, 9.6 white. But I have to have the current slab if I'm going to put it on the wall. $9.4, 9.0. If you've got to have ASM 300 and you don't have one of the other 15 million graded copies, There's a 9.0, ASM 309 and a 9.2. These are interesting. This is coming back in lower grades now, and they're still throwing them up there to sell. 315, bad rap. 316 is the book to have. That's one of the all-time great Spider-Man covers. Very fine near mint. 9.0 for this one. Already 220. $317, bad rap. A lot of these are miswrapped in this auction. 9.6. This is saying it's a 9.0. What is a 9.0 of 361 going for? This is the wrong time to buy to be buying 361. The Venom 2 movie was delayed again, but there's so many of these. Look at this. 9.0. Is it newsstand? Direct. 260. Last sold 230. I don't own this book, but I don't know if I want to drop $200 on it right now. And it's not even going to be 200. It's going to be more. 362 and a 9.8. Second Carnage. Old slab though, old case I should say. 9.8. I've got a couple of these at CGC. Hopefully these come back 9.8, so I don't have to sweat that. Okay, we've moved on from ASM, the singles, and then this is where, if the lot is right, I usually jump on these. So this is interesting, but I can tell right there, ASM 22 has that fold down the middle, and ASM 19 looks like writing all over the cover, like his eyes are filled in. So you have to be careful with that. But this is an interesting lot here. You have king size ASM 4, ASM 36, and ASM 34 with Craven. And they're saying that this is a fine 6.0. So this one I want to look at. So annual 4, 34, and 36. Now for me personally, the only thing is I have 36 already. So I don't know if I want another copy of it. Otherwise, this would be something I'd look at. But I'm going to move on. There's another one with 36, although I would like to have 37. Again, in a 6.0. There's something about the scan. This, like if you look at right in the middle, maybe it's hard to tell on video, but right on the left side by the spine, like where his elbows cut off, it looks very clean. And then this one, there's a huge color break that goes across. Let me look at this one. And it's a 2-book lot, which makes it easier for me to afford. Something's drawing me to this one. I think I want to track this one. Let's clone this record, and I'll show you how I do this for these lots. And basically, I just look up each one's GPA and add them together. And I'm not gonna waste your time fixing that. I have to figure out. Obviously, that's not correct. It says value. Yeah, it doesn't list the value in here, so I'll fix that later. GPA on this one. So we have ASM 36 and 37 reported as a 6.0. So this in a 6.0, 150, last sold 130. $150 for 36 and 37 in a 6.0. $400. Last sold in July for $400. Oh boy. 400. 550. So the last sale I think I also had, it was 130 plus 400. So 530. 530 last sold. And just so I can try, I'm going to overwrite that. I'll fix that later. Okay, so this one's interesting because it's currently sitting at 110, which is below even what I would pre-bid. So this would be a lot that I'm definitely going to track and get text alerts on. And in fact, I'm going to bid on it right now and move it to 115. Okay, I've been outbid, and then I'm just going to go back and get the live auction alerts. I don't have to track the item because I've already bidding on it. So bidding on something and then clicking track, it's the same thing, except obviously you're bidding on one and only tracking the other. But if you bid, it's automatically tracked. So this one is going to be interesting. I don't know how to highlight that. Now, am I going to really spend that much money on it? No, but if I'm looking at it in the target range, I might be able to snipe this one. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to, do I underline it? I don't know. Something like that. Looks lame. Anyway, I got to figure out how to highlight that and call it out a little bit later. All right, let's move on. Here's a lot of 4 in a 4.0. What is the lot? The issue numbers are kind of spread out. 32, 38, 45, and then we'll just throw in 97. So 97 is probably the highest grade of the bunch. You can't even see 32. Yeah, 32 is not even on here. So I stay away from these two because you can already see 38 is pretty beat up and fading here. 45 looks pretty decent, slightly miswrapped. And then 97 looks really clean. And so when you see this book really clean, it means the other ones aren't as nice. Plus, once you get beyond 2 or 3 book lots of these Silver Age, the price just gets out of control. Like this one's already got a $280 bid on a group of 13 books that average out to 3.0. So it's just a bunch of books that they get at Heritage and go, we can't do anything with this. They're just too low grade. And they throw them in a lot like this. So I try and focus on lot sizes of 2 to 3, just because then I can see the scans and I can more accurately track the data that way. Like great varies or not applicable, like just stay away from that stuff. It's just not worth it. So here is a complete range of 43 books. That's issues 56 through 99, average of 7.0. Currently 1,300. Group of 6, group of 12, average 1.5. I'm not saying it's junk, but I'm not interested. because I know you want to get on camera, don't you? Group of 24, group of 14. Just the lot sizes are too big. I'm not going to drop $1,000 for random books. Nope. Group of 55. Here's a short box of Amazing Spider-Man. ASM Annual. ASM Annual 16 9.0 Raw. First Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel. I'm curious to see how this book is doing now that WandaVision is in the past. ASM Annual 16. So always a great book to have. 9.8, over $1,000. So what's a 9.0? 150. They're saying trending down from the 12-month of 162. So definitely the lack of WandaVision. But again, when the Marvels movie comes out, I think the book's going to spike again. 150. The problem is it's already at 105. So just already at 126. Plus it's raw. I'm going to skip it. If it was slabbed in a 9.0, then it's a different story, but you can find it slabbed in a 9.0 for an affordable price if you're just looking to add this book to your collection. Okay. A-Team. I don't know if I have any A-Team books or not, man. $9 if you want to grab A-Team number 2. Avengers Annual 10. This is another book it's always on my radar, but older slab, already 9.6 at 270. I'm just going to move on. Avengers number 1, number 3, number 7 in a 6.5. Let's take a look. So these early Avengers books, raw, is something I'm starting to look at, especially as I'm reading the series and going through them. Now they have a bit more meaning for me. Avengers 7, 6.5. $300, no recent sales though. The 12-month is $290. I'm going to track this one. Just make sure that there's no other problems. So kind of zooming in on the book, do we see any other writing? Yeah, that's unfortunate. The top of the book, a lot of those books have that issue where it's a little bit of fold and then it's just like the top is just cut a little bit every quarter inch there. But really fun, interesting cover. Yeah, let's track it. Part of my tracking is just education, so I do want to see if I can start to afford these books, and just trying to learn and understand Avengers. I focus on ASM Iron Man and X-Men, but just started to track Avengers as well. So in Avengers number 7, again, I've got to copy this one. Is it saying 6.0? No, I thought it was 6.5. Weird. Does it not? Does it have the wrong value? How did it pull 6.0? Weird. Somehow it pulled 6.0 out of that text. Probably right there. That was an error on Heritage's side there. So I'll just, again, manually update that. Nothing's perfect. Okay, 6.5. GPA is 6.5 here. So 290, still trending up in the 12-month because of that $300 sale back in May. 290, last sold 300. So my target bid is 137, max 220. So 137, I'm just going to track the book. I don't need a text message if I miss that one. Avengers 8 First Kang, that's going nuts. Here's a great book, Avengers 12 in a 5.0. Pretty badly. Whoa, man. Look at the wrapping on that one. Yeah, half of that's cut off. Let me just see what this goes for, Avengers 12. I used this as the thumbnail for this live stream, so I feel like I have to do this. I have to add it. I was flipping through the Heritage auctions, and I just saw this cover. I'm like, oh, that would make for a fun thumbnail. All right, so in a 5.0, I'm going to have to figure out that formula again. Anyway, 5.0, $100. And I'll grab the description. Let's see what this one said. Yeah, it's weird. It's grabbing like the wrong overstreet value for some of these, whereas before it was, I mean, it's just the way that, like, Heritage is saying this is a 5, but then they're putting a last overstreet value of 4. So I may have to do a mapping from the condition, like do a lookup on condition and map that instead, which that'll take me a little more time, but I'm not going to do this live here. Okay, so $100, I think, is what we said for a 5. Last sold in July for that $100. So let's see here. $45 is the current, and my max is 61. So again, I just want to track this book. Not really interested in going all out for it. Avengers 23 at an 8.5. White pages, though. With Mr. Kang on the cover, already at 230. So that's gonna shoot up. 28, 7.5 white. Oh, the wrapping on that one kind of hurts it. $9.0 off-white. Avengers 57. First Vision. Avengers 70. It's a great cover. I kind of like this one. It's off-white to white, though. Let's see. Avengers 70 in a 7.5. $143 last sale. 12 month is at $116. Only 2 sales. And we are at 84, which is already 100. Yeah. I'm not going to bid that one up, I don't think. Avengers 83. $85 white pages. Looks off-centered in the slab. I could shift it around. The Lady Liberators. 83 is off-white to white. $80. 6.5 though. I'd rather pay a lot less for that raw. 7.5. It's a great Black Panther cover. And it's white pages. Let me look at this one. Look at the wrapping. It's pretty good. That's a pretty clean book. Interesting colors too, with the yellow and the orange. It really pops with Origin of T'Challa right on the front. That's a really nice looking book. So I'm going to track it regardless of GPA, just because I'm interested in the price on this now. Again, I'm trying to learn along the way too. Now this one, it should pull in the correct grade right out of the description here. Yeah, there we go. So 77.5 CGC white pages for Avengers 87. Yeah, 9.8 sold in December for $2,500. 7.5 though, 188. So that's pretty affordable. 188. And 8.0 goes for 210. 8.5 for 250. 7 actually sold for more. So this is like right in that sweet spot where the pricing's a little weird. So the 7.5 has an FMV of less than a 7. Plus it's white pages. So this is one that I'm going to get the text messages for. So 188, last sold for 188 is what I'm going to track this at. And my max is 157, my target is 112. So it's right around my target already. And I want to make sure I get a text on this one. And if it shoots up and it's more, then move on to the next book. There's always plenty of comics. So Avengers 120 white pages. And look at the action on these covers. You just don't see this anymore. I mean, that is a massive splash page. That's cool. That's a 9.0 white pages. It's slightly miscut at the top, but I'm being really picky on that one. What does that one go for? 120. Because the current bid at 64. $30. So it's just not a book that has a lot of sales data, and it's already this is where I think this is what I was talking about when we're getting into the Spider-Man. So we're into the Bronze Age. So Bronze Age 9.0, way different from Silver Age 9.0. And you could see here a lot of this in the 9.92, 9.4. On a book like this, there's just basically no value. And when I say no value, if you're subtracting the cost of getting this book slabbed, it's canceling the value out. Now 9.8 is a different story. It's pretty nice book at $276, but this would be one of those books where I'd look to see on Mile High if it's in near mint and try and grab it from Mile High. Okay, moving on. 9.0, 8.5. That's a great cover. Too bad it's 8.5. 9.6 off-white. 9.6 white. Iron Man laying the smackdown on Hercules there. Avengers. I'm just looking this up because Iron Man's on the cover. Giving it to Hercules, 9.6, $76. It's already at the fair market value before the auction even starts. So just keep going. This is really, I would say, uncharacteristic for Heritage to just list a bunch of these books off white in a 9.4, and these are not keys. And as a buyer, I'm just not interested. As a seller, it's great. You're gonna get like somebody just sent in their stack of Avengers books into CGC and got these back and said, "Here, sell them." No, I think that's all for Avengers. Avengers 8.5 too. Yeah, again, if these are like 9.4, 9.6 in white, maybe like this one. Just going back to this, but these books don't have any value, unfortunately. Okay, I usually skip ahead at this point. I know there's still some great Captain America. Well, actually, there's not that many. So this was a Spider-Man and Avengers heavy first page. Conan. Daredevil, another series. I have some back issues in the Silver and Bronze Age, but I'm not a huge Daredevil collector. I probably should spend more time on this, but again, I'm already an hour and 13 minutes into this stream and only through A, so I have to, start skipping ahead for my own sake as well as yours. Lots of Daredevil goodness. Here's a group of 29 on these. Daredevil is something you could certainly slip in and get some Marvel Silver Age at a decent price, but I'm just going to move on. Dazzler, Doctor Strange, Eternals. I've tracked Eternals in the past. This is the wrong time to buy, I think. The movie's right around the corner. It's just probably as expensive as they're going to be. I don't know if we're going to see an Eternals franchise. It doesn't feel like it's that kind of movie. It always depends on how it does at the box office. If Eternals is the #1 movie of all time, then certainly they would make a trilogy out of it. But I'd much rather see the MCU focus on other stories. So this is the absolute worst time to be a buyer. Like a year after the movie comes out is when I'd go back and pick up Eternals if you need them. Fantastic Four. These are always good to look at, especially in terms of the covers. So we've got some raw books, FF26 in a 5. That's a fun cover. That's cool. And the great Kirby cover. But pricey already, even for 4.0 at 155. I think people are catching on to FF, Silver Surfer, Galactus. I think I just read some news about Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and I think it was Key Collector had an update where it was High Evolutionary was not the prime antagonist, but was going to be there, and there was some tie back to Galactus. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I think, is coming out in 2023, so we're still 2 years away from this. So plenty of time to get Fantastic Four books. Great book, really beat up there. FF50. First Black Panther. $725 for a raw 6.5. Here's a raw 1.5 if you have to have it for $280. FF77 off-white 82 9.4. Just scanning these here. 9.6 white pages. Not a great cover there. It's interesting. 9.2 white pages. I don't know. Nothing's really jumping out at me here. Like I wouldn't put that up on the wall. It's just not interesting to me. 93 white pages. That one's great. FF320. What year was this? 1988. So this is 9.2 white pages. 320 bid $3. So we jumped from FF94, Return of the Frightful Four. 9.6 white pages, already 600. So I'm going to skip ahead to the lots. Nothing's really jumping out at me or is all that exciting. That FF55 is a great book. 27. This is a group of, the lot sizes are too big as much as I'd like that FF39. That's a fantastic book. Same thing with 57. No pun intended with fantastic, but yeah, just too many. Too many in the lot. Again, here's a group of 3. 3.5. Looks like issue 30. It has a big tear at the top right corner. It's 2 great FF books, though, 39 and 51 in the same lot. Current bid 21. Actually, this says it's a group of 5. Let me look at this one. 37 through 40. Interesting. Because the current bid is so low, I want to look at this. So I am going to track this 5-book lot. This is probably not going to show up here. So it's saying that it's an average grade of 3.5. It's not going to show up 3.5 raw. So this will take a little bit of time to look up. We're going to analyze Fantastic Four and start with 37. And sometimes what I do is limit to like just the key issues. So I'm going to look that up real quick too. So 37 of the 3.5 is $33. So if we're looking here, I'm just doing some research off to the side just to see which numbers. So issue 37, first appearance of Anel, the Skrull royalty, and the mother of Hulkling. So that could be interesting if the Skrulls are a big deal. So $41 last sold for $33. I don't know if I'm going to be able to remember that. Well, equals 41 equals 33. And that was 37, 38. 38, second appearance of Frightful Four, second appearance of Medusa in a 3.5, $31. That was 38, 39. 39 is not a key. But interesting, selling for more. But 39, I think, had the cover, right? Yeah. Should be a key for the cover alone. So for me, that's interesting. $70 last sold, whereas 44. So I'm going to put 44, but put last sold of 70. So 116. So that's 39. And then 40, and then 51. So 40, also not a key. Issue 40 and a 3.5, last sold 3 years ago. I'm not going to add that, and then I'm going to just jump to 51. So I'll do that too. Like if they don't even show the book, it's not a key. I don't even add it to the value, and that helps me determine whether or not I bid on the book. 3.5 on 51. And $51 is the first mention of Negative Zone, second appearance of Wyatt Wingfoot, and this is This Monster right here, which is classic cover. So 3.5, $52, last sold for $49. So this is how Heritage makes these books a bit more interesting, right? If these were all 3.5s singularly scanned on Heritage, they probably wouldn't get that much of it, much attention. But in a lot like this, for somebody like me, it's interesting. So the current bid here is $21, which is below the pre-auction bid of $28. Again, I would max out at 118, hopefully snag this for 70 or less. So I'm going to bid 28. And that allows me to track the lot. And I'm winning at 23, which obviously won't last. And I'd like to get a text on this one. And so that's how I look at the auction lots like that, to see if I can get some older books for a lot less. Now, I'm tracking real GPA slabbed copies of these. But again, I'm looking at a couple of books in that lot and would be willing to pay for all 5, even at a low grade and a 3.5. Since I don't have these books in my collection. All right, Fantastic Four, let's keep going. Here's another group of 5. This is Fantastic Four Annual group of 5. I'm gonna skip that one and keep going. All right, Ghost Rider. That's the end of page 1. I'm gonna probably skip ahead to Iron Man and see what they have there. Here's a giant size X-Men, 8.5 white pages, $4,800. Well, I don't know why that one wasn't in the select, but the auction that's going on right now, not select, the super premium one that's happening. G.I. Joe, I'm a fan, but not a fan of overpaying for G.I. Joe #1. Luke Cage, I think those are solid pickups. Just don't have the data on those. Hulk Group of 7, Iron Fist. Okay, here we go. Iron Man. So Iron Man #1. I'm tracking this 6.0 in white pages. It's miswrapped, but I'm just curious to see what that goes for. Here's the 7.5 cream. No, thank you. And then there's 2 other raw copies, a 3 and a 2. 3 has some writing on the cover. Lots of spine wear. The 2.0 is actually looks better to me. What is apparent good? I want to see what that apparent GD. Interesting. Let's see the back. Back looks pretty good. Something right there in the middle. What is that? Some snot or cigarette burn. Back looks really nice. I think they have to call out like detached staples or anything like that, but even the wrapping looks good. That, why don't they just take that and like fold it down? Like seriously, just push that down and it looks much nicer. This thing in the corner, like seriously. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that's why it's a 2.0. That's a giant chunk right there out of the, maybe just the cover or several pages even. But honestly, I'm kind of excited about this one. Like, man, I'd even slab it like that. What I'd like is, I don't mind the fact that it has the wear and tear. I think that that's, like, there's a couple of ways to look at these books, right? You can look at it from an investment perspective and say, I need Iron Man 1 in the highest grade possible. And then you kind of set up your investment and you're tracking accordingly. And then other times you want to add books to your collection that present well, that have that wear and tear, right? That's part of it. It's part of the cool factor. If this was really terribly miswrapped or had a giant like spine crease, like when those Silver Age books were folded in half, that'd be another story. But look at the colors in here. Like, unless this whole thing was traced and I can't see it in the scan, I mean, this is great. I think it's this chunk. That's what's causing the low grade. And I don't know what does apparent good mean? So there's a bit of miswrapping on the back, but I kind of love this copy. I don't know why, but it's striking to me. So I'm going to track it because I will tell you it's almost like comic book therapy too, going in here and looking at books and tracking them like this, even though it's free. It's just part of what kind of feeds my joy of the hobby. I'm not spending a dime, just collecting some data. All right, I'm gonna grab that one. So yeah, this one was correctly 2.0 raw. They must just have a range of the Overstreet, and then if it's not the specific grade, so again, I'll have to map that out so that it grabs the condition GD and maps it to 2.0. But anyway, let's find out, before I get too excited here, what Iron Man #1 in a 2.0 goes for. So 9.8, 18,000, sure. But I got to scroll all the way down. 2.0 for 250. Sold last month for 250. Trending down. And that's CGC slabbed. So could this one sell for under 200? Maybe. So 250 is the GPA. Last sold 250. So target is 115, max 186. And we're still in that range. So I'm going to track it and get a text. So because I'm a sucker, I would probably look to bid this one up to 186. And if in doing so, that ends the buyer's premium at 223. So if I were to send this off to CGC, I wouldn't have to pay any additional fees because it's still, it's considered to be such a low grade that it doesn't have as much value. So it can still kind of fit into that nice price range of with a max, right? So that we're basically maxing out with the buyer's premium of 223, and then give or take $27 here or there, a dollar here or there, I should say. We're right around that 250 for a CGC copy of Iron Man #1. Well, that's cool. I'm glad I found that. That's interesting to me. And that's more interesting than a miswrapped 6.0. That was probably pressed too. I can see now it's white pages, which is why I'm tracking it there. But yeah, that's great. Iron Man Submariner #1. That's in a 5.0. That's another book I've been tracking. So let's see what that goes for. Iron Man Submariner, 1 issue, 5.0. 198 trending up. Last sold though for 148. And what are we at now? 60. So this one I will also track. So I want to take a look and see. Wrapping looks really, really good. No writing on the cover. No writing on the back. So it's slightly miswrapped, but the alignment is right on. So there is an issue at the top back of the book. What is that? It's some sort of tear or scratch there on the back. Which again, that's going to knock the overall grade down, but the front cover looks very, very good. You've got that streak going across the bottom right of the book. But love this book. It's one of those where I kept passing on it when I was a kid at the LCS because just whatever the price was too expensive. Too much allowance money. All right. So this one, I don't see any other notes. And we've got this one in a 5.0. Yeah, I gotta fix that. And a 5.0 GPA, 198, last sold 148. So 86 is my target, which it's under. So I'll track it and so I feel like that's sort of my formula, is that if it's under my target, I want the text. And at 60 though, it's already above the pre-bid, again, because it is Sunday and the auction's today. So a lot of those, it just doesn't apply. I'm getting kind of lazy with the prep too. I'll often prep Sunday morning for the first day instead of earlier in the week, just because I have time earlier in the morning. Journey into Mystery, just not a big Jim and Thor collector. Never was. Have to draw the line somewhere. So I'm kind of scooting ahead. And I don't know what the cutoff is. Oh, right here. just as I said it, see how it says live auction September 12th. So Marvel Age 12 is part of day 2, which is tomorrow. So I'll have some time to go through this. So I'm probably going to stop here and find a good stopping point. These are randoms, random Bronze Age. I usually stay away from these too. Here's Spider-Woman #1, just randomly thrown in. So that's going to bump this one up because it's right there on the front. But I try to stay away from these like group of 20, group of 46. It's a total gamble. Trying to find a stopping point. Collector's item. These are popping up as collectible. More Marvel. This one's interesting. I have a copy of this, probably around a 7. It's raw. Who is it signed by? David Michelini? Yeah. Oh, the wrapping is awful. Oh, here's a rando Silver Age Iron Man 5, X-Men 21, Amazing Fantasy 7. Crazy. I just don't. I mean, I'm sure there's some deals to be had in here, but it's so random in the lots. I mean, there's a group of 8. I don't know what the other 8 are or the other 5 are. It's not worth my time or trouble to figure out exactly. I'd have to see a real book in here that's a key, like FF50. Like if I have to have that book, if something pops in that, here's group of 6. But again, average grade 1.0. A lot of it is pretty much trash or eBay fodder. I just hate the random. Here's Doctor Strange 179 mixed in with X-Men 11. Like, I just wish they wouldn't do that. More random stuff. There's that Iron Man 9 that slips in there. Weird. Group of 11 books. Current bid 300. Lots of rando stuff. Again, like this one, Silver Surfer 4, probably a 1.0. Or here's average grade 0.5. Just beat to all hell. Ghost Rider, Captain Marvel. Secret Wars. Yeah. 9.8 white, miswrapped, no thanks. Also miswrapped. No shortage of this book. Miswrapped. And raw miswrapped. Maybe I can finish. Moon Knight, 9.8 white pages. Group of 40 rando Moon Knight books. This is a great book. Power Man 17 in a 9.8. 350 already a little bit pricey, but that's a fantastic book. That's a good one too. 9.2 white pages. Power Man, Rawhide. She-Hulk #1, 9.0 white. She-Hulk probably the window's closing for getting She-Hulk just under peak value. Silver Surfer, Mephisto. This book is back, being on everybody's radar. Not a huge Silver Surfer, Silver Age collector. First Shang-Chi, 9.6 white. Remember at 9.8, didn't it sell for 20 or 30 grand or something crazy? This one's at 2,400 and a 9.6. Snag it. If, again, wrong time to buy this book, best time to sell. people say like the best time to sell is when you get that first trailer, or maybe when everybody's appetite is super hungry. They're excited for the movie, but there's a gamble there where if you sell at the time of the trailer, and then the movie comes out and it's very well received, like Shang-Chi is gotten great feedback, great reviews. It's almost better to wait. If you think the movie's going to be great, you could even wait, because I would say it peaked again after the first week or two, because it was such a great movie. Spectacular Spider-Man #1, newsstand 9.8 white page. That's a great book. It's going to be too expensive. Here it is. You can get it again ungraded in an 8.0 for a lot less if you want it. Group of 35. So this is Spectacular Spider-Man 1 through 35 in an average grade of 8.0. So a lot of times what you'll do with these, so here's like 36 Spectacular Spider-Man for $288. You can go back and look and see what Heritage has them for, but again, it's random. You could just do basic math and say, okay, if you went to an LCS and they had a Spectacular Spider-Man back issue bin, are they marking these books for $2 or $3? And if so, then let's say $3. I mean, somebody just did the math, said I'll give you $2 a book for these, and I'll bid $70. Maybe it's worth a $100 bid. And just get a nice stack of 35 books. It's not bad. I mean, you're getting one through. I mean, they're highlighting a couple of books. Morbius, Moon Knight, Daredevil makes an appearance in here. Like, you can do that. It's too many books for me to have to deal with and grade. But shoot, you again, like, so this isn't an 8. I understand this is a 9.8, but I already have Spectacular Spider-Man #1, but if this series meant something to me, that's not a bad lot to bid in. All right. Honestly, the last two series that maybe I should just finish it off now. The last two series that I typically go through and analyze is Star Wars and X-Men. So Star Wars #1. So I have that one right there in a 7.5 off-white. My goal over time is to gradually upgrade it. So to sell that one and buy the next grade up, so around an 8, which is what this one is. It's a raw 8.0. That looks pretty good. Or you just jump all the way up to a 9.2, but off-white, slightly miswrapped. I think the presentation of this one's a little better. And then a 9.6, not quite ready to do that yet. So this one, I'm going to track and see what this one goes for. That's a really clean 8.0 copy. So let's track this one. And I think I'm catching on to see, I think they put the overstreet in even numbers. So if it's an odd number, it doesn't pick it up. So that's why my formula is off. So if it's an odd grade number, it doesn't pick it up in the listing. So Star Wars #1. Again, I feel like we're in the lull with Star Wars. There's really nothing happening right now. There's a Disney Plus animated show, but really once we get Boba Fett and The Mandalorian coming back, Star Wars is going to be red hot again. So 9.8 continues to surge. We're up over 6,000. 8.0 way down here. 328 rising, but last sold 300 this month. All right, 63 is my opener, 157 is my target. So below my target, so I'm going to track it and add text messaging. So this is something else I'd like to snag and see if I could send it into CGC and get that 8.0. So this is the process of like when you talk about upgrading a book, so going from 7.5 to an 8. Sometimes it's just buying the slab, sometimes it's the raw and grading it and seeing what you get. And that's part of the fun. Star Wars 43, CBCS 9.8, First Lando, miswrapped. 9.2 white, not interested. I'm only buying these if they're 9.6 or 9.8 white. Star Wars 68, this one shows up every week. That's a nice 9.0, but not interested. And then 81, can find that elsewhere. Here's a group of 6 books in 7.0 range. Let's see here. Two, 3, 5, 7, 13, and 14. Issue 2 is interesting. First Obi-Wan. So I'm going to track this one as well. Sorry, just checking my alerts here. I've got about 10 minutes left on this stream. Let's grab the description. And let's see, 7.0 raw. So start off with issue 2. Oops. Start off with issue 2. So 2, 3, 5, 7, 13. Issue 2 in a 7.0. These are probably all going to be about the same price. That's $100 going down, although last sold 149. 101, 149. That's surprising. In a 7.0, that one's selling for that much. Issue 3. So that lot is going to command the premium for issue number 2. But let's see. 7.5, $70. 70. 70. And issue 5 is also a great book. $7.5, $49. Did anybody want these books like 5 years ago, 10 years ago? 2, 3, 5, 7. I know the answer to that question is no. And now everybody wants them. Well, not everybody, but people like me. Star Wars nuts. $22. Essentially not even worth putting in there, but if my LCS had that one with the $10 price tag, $15 price tag, would I buy it from them? Maybe. 13 and 14. 13 and a 7.5, $23. So yeah, that issue 2 is what's holding this one up. And issue 14, also in a 7.5. $13. All right, so my target is 130 for this lot. 52 right on target with the current bid. No need to bid on it. Actually, again, I'm rethinking the bid process. Maybe there's no reason to bid at all. But I'm going to track it, and I'm going to set the live auction. Okay. Group of 19, Star Wars, average 3.5, and then we get into Strange Tales, and I'm going to stop. I was going to say stop at X-Men, but now we get into Tales of Suspense, which I also track. Do I see anything interesting here? That one's kind of cool. Oh, look at the tracing on that one. No, thank you. That's a 3.5. Give me a break. This should be like no grade. Thor 126. A bunch of Thor books. Oh, look, a modern Thor 4. Donny Cates, 9.8. Tomb of Dracula, Transformers. Venom, Web of Spider-Man. Werewolf by Night, Wolverine. Good stuff there. Wolverine 9.6. This book continues. There's plenty of these, but it continues to sell. And I've got these ready for grading. I just have to send it off, see what they come back as, get them cleaned up, and then X-Men. So I'm going to stop here. It has been almost 2 hours. Thank you to the hundreds of thousands of people that watch this stream. I really appreciate all of you, each and every one of you. And I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. And just enjoy time with your family and friends and whatever you do. Stay safe, happy collecting, and see you next time.